So what have we talked about so far? Just to relax a little bit. We talked about the funding rounds on a regional perspective. Ron walked you through the sectors, the companies behind it, and also now we had a little deep dive on some topics that we found interesting, NFTs on a global level, and then 2 topics per region. Now we want to mention something that we deeply care about because we're connected to most of the initiatives that you're going to see on the next couple slides. And we always try to make sure that we are also some sort of a voice for the people behind these initiatives by reaching out to them for all of our reports, giving them the opportunity to present themselves in a way. So these slides, highly populated with initiatives, for us is also connected to the people that we work with on an ongoing basis. So what have we covered on the next 3 slides? This is the European sports tech ecosystem as it stands now. So that is all the investors, programs, and initiatives that we have found across the European sports tech ecosystem. And a few observations here. Number 1, it is a very crowded slide. Europe has lots of initiatives overall. And if you look at the bucket on the right, the initiatives by clubs, leagues, associations, and other innovation initiatives, we have 36 in Europe. 36, that is quite a lot. If you would add, or if you add the programs, the accelerator and incubator programs, which are 11, we end up at 47 initiatives just in Europe. But, and here it comes, only 10 investors, and as investors, we don't count business angels or private investors or individuals. We count funds and investment networks. These are the initiatives that we cover.
Also dedicated sports tech funds, so not generic.
Yeah. Dedicated to sports tech in some way. Yeah. So this is Europe, very crowded, very initiative heavy on the right side. Now compare that to North America. Let me go back for a second, look at the colors. It's a lot of purple. It's a lot of whatever the other color is on the right side. Look at North America. First thing you realize, there's a lot of investors in North America. In fact, there are, I wrote it down somewhere, 27 investors in North America. So if you wonder where all the money is coming from, this is a big answer to that, not exclusively, but if you have a certain investment infrastructure in your region, of course, there is a tendency that you invest in the companies that are around you also because you meet them, you know them, you network, all of that. North America is not so heavily populated when it comes to innovation initiatives or the accelerator and incubator programs, of which they only have 15 in total. So 15 compared to the 47 that we have seen in Europe. So big difference there. And there's a region number 3. Ron, I believe that is one that you cover because that is your origin.
Absolutely. Asia Pacific. Now, it's clear that this region is nowhere near as populated as the others, but it's something that we're seeing changing. Now, I should also mention that, as I said at the top, this is dedicated sports tech investors at least, because a lot of the funding that you see in Asia comes from investors where sports tech is just one of the things that they do, the likes of SoftBank, Tiger Global, Sequoia, etc., who have got made quite a few of the big investments. They don't appear here for that reason. But there are some good initiatives that we see arising. I want to quickly go back and forth a little bit to highlight the new ones. I should say that there are, maybe next year we'll pop a little flag. But in Europe, for example, the investors, we've seen Apex Capital and the Dutch Sport Tech Fund, which are 2 big new investors. In terms of programs, we've seen Sports Tech Belgium, which is new. We Sport Up has risen up again in Italy. In the initiatives, there are too many, so I will leave that aside. Dazonex is one that I remember. In the US, we've seen NBA Launchpad who've come back. Drive by DraftKings were already there last year. ESPN's Edge Innovation Center is a new one. So few new names there. Make sure you reach out to all these guys. And within Asia, there are actually quite a few. Athletic Ventures is new in Sydney. And Wildcard Ventures. Wildcard Ventures is actually in partnership with Tennis Australia. Dream Sports Investments is by Dream 11. They have their big fund, which operates separate to Dream Investments. I can see suddenly when we come to investors, everybody's excited about getting in the chat. Yeah. Some good accelerator programs, Startup Bootcamp, Qatar, which was previously called Qatar SportsTech, now is taken over by Startup Bootcamp, or actually always run by them, but they rebranded. A few other accelerators, JSW Sports has a program, Saudi Sport Innovation Hub. There is GSIC, who launched their innovation hub in Singapore last year, and Global Sports Innovation Hub, that's the name, which is based in India. So a few new names appearing on this list, which is more than anything else what we like to see this ecosystem growing. As Ben said, investors in specific geographies, especially Europe, and to a certain extent in Asia, is what it needs. Asia in general needs beefing up in programs and initiatives as well. But as more money pops up and more dedicated funds pop up, the startups will get bigger and bigger. That is, I think, Ben, us done. So, guys, this is the 80% of you. Actually, we were at about 100 people and there are about almost 80 left. So, the 80% of you that are left behind have stayed with us all this time. Questions, thoughts, ideas? What do you have to say, Ben?
I like the idea that you had. We should flag the new initiatives and funds every year. That's a good one, and also extending that thought to you guys. If you see a slide and you're like, "Oh, I wish that they would include this or that, or this would improve a slide significantly," feel free to reach out to us. LinkedIn. I'm typically very bad in answering LinkedIn messages. Sorry about that for everyone who I didn't answer. But you can also just write an email to hello@sportstechx.com if you have a few suggestions what you'd like to see.
Sorry, I should also mention that for not all of them, but for a lot of these investors programs, initiatives across the different geographies, download the reports. You will see interviews from the people who are operating these, either working in the fund or running the program or running the initiative, etc. So you will see the direct contact of the person that you should reach out to. Not in all, because we can't get everybody in there, but we always feature quite a few. Thanks, you guys. I see.
Ross had a question.
Yeah. Would you consider creating reports on employment within the industry? Interesting. If you're talking about job opportunities within SportsTech, why not? Ross, give us some money and we will do it. We're pretty open to creating. No.
Pretty open to money. Thank you.
We will do most things.
Great statement.
No, but I think it's an interesting topic. We don't have a job board. We don't do anything like that, but it's something that we've got asked before. So maybe it's something that we can look into. What else? Karamveer, can you provide some examples of blockchain in sports in general? What does the future look like? Ben, where should we start with the big M word?
I'm always up for it.
Okay, we have 3 minutes left. I'll give you one of those.
No, it's fine. I'm fine. I mean,
You're fine.
It's too obvious. It's too obvious.
Yeah, the sports metaverse, Karamveer, the fitness metaverse. Everybody is talking about only that. How this manifests is yet to be seen. It's too big a word right now, and it's too almost vague. But we've seen good applications. For example, Nike have their metaverse. We've seen the Australian Open do something interesting in the space. It's a bit early to say what this exactly is like, but I think that's definitely the trend. What else do we have?
We have asking regarding NFT to see sports clubs moving from traditional sponsorship deals to exploring monetization and utilities with their fan base.
Yeah.
A tough one, long one. I mean, I wouldn't say replacing sponsorship with using NFTs to monetize the fan base, but to add on that. And you mentioned one keyword, utilities. That is probably the most important thing with NFTs these days. So not just sell an NFT and you're done. It's more like build a relationship, build a community, entertain them, make sure that if your fans hold NFTs for a while, that they get rewarded. There are also monetization opportunities along the way. But yeah, that would be a long session to explain all of this.
Absolutely. Just one thing I'll add over there, Jaime, is that the difference between NFTs and tokens, because fan tokens is a completely separate topic, and there is actually legislation or regulation which is coming. A lot of the Premier League, a lot of the American leagues are looking at which tokens are they going to allow to come in as sponsors, and because tokens exposes fans to a lot of financial risk. So that is one topic they stay away from. Andre, the presentation is available to download. Yes, Kimberly has dropped those links in the main chat. Aniruddha, thanks. Would love to know more about the future of fantasy, sports betting, and sports gaming. Aniruddha, we have our reports. Otherwise, I don't know how else we can help. Drop us a line. Maybe we can chat. Tipu asks, are there reports which assess the industry size of sports tech? There are.
For athletes, yeah.
Yeah, there are a few. We don't know how good or bad they are. We've seen them. How accurate they are, it's hard to predict. But there are a few. I think Allied Research, there's one company, Allied Market Research. There are a few others.
Yeah, I think the reports on the market size of sports are typically tricky. Let's put it that way. They're only 1 and 2, and typically very expensive, and nobody knows if they're really accurate, like Ron already mentioned. So it's definitely something that's missing in the market, but it's also a very tricky exercise to run because you have to build lots of assumptions, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know how useful that would be.
Yeah, but they're good indicators. I mean, that's why what we do is we go on what's happened rather than project. So we look at the last 5 years of funding and see what that trend is looking like. There's a reason we go with that approach. So based on that, yeah, we can say this is likely to continue growing at this rate. We say no. The fact is that this is what happened in the last 5 years. Projections anybody can do, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I think we're done.
We are done. Basically in time. If you take out the questions, I think we're good, right?
I believe we are good. All right, guys, that is the end of our report. Or of our session. Sorry. No, somebody just messaged me that I was dropped off. I was like, what?
No, you're good. I can still see you. Yeah, thanks everyone for sticking with us. We made it in time. Thanks for all the questions. I really appreciated that. It's better than just me talking with this guy over here all the time that we do every Thursday, unless somebody asks about language learning partners. It's better to have an interaction with you out there.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Stay tuned. More reports coming, more content. Stay on our social channels. You know the drill. See you guys soon.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.